I literally cannot even look at a sewing machine right now without getting like full body hives.
Oh my God, I am physically shaking. Like my retinas are actively recovering from the structural atrocities we just witnessed on that main stage. I mean, I need a medic, I need a tailor, and I need a very generous pour of whatever you are holding right now.
Babes, welcome back. This one's for the gals, the guys, the gays, the theys, and literally all the queens, kings, and every fabulous human in between. Grab your glitter, because we're heading to the runway.
And grab your safety goggles, honestly, because it was a hazard out there tonight.
It really was. But Snark Squad, you already know the drill. You're sitting right here on the couch with us. You are the third bestie in this room, and we have the sparkling rosé on deck. Because every Drag Race episode deserves a proper celebration.
Hand it over, Diva. Pour that up.
Pouring right now. Clink. Cheers to you, bestie. And cheers to you listening at home. Here's to another fabulous night of delusion, design flaws, and Canadian excellence.
Cheers. And honestly, speaking of delusion, can we please have a very quick sidebar? Because my own personal delusions are kind of bleeding into my real life, and I feel like this workroom drama has deeply triggered me.
Oh, no. Wait, what did you do? Does this have to do with the basketball league?
We are still doing the basketball league, yes, and I am in a full psychological spiral. Because we are somehow 10 games into the season. 10 games.
Right.
And I have to confess to you and the Snark Squad right now, I am actively a detriment to the court.
Oh, my God, stop.
No, I mean it. Every single week, my team rolls up to the gym, we look each other dead in the eye, and we confidently state, like, this is the game, the synergy clicks, we have the strategy.
Yeah, you manifest it.
We do. And then the whistle blows, and it's immediate cardio-induced panic, which is exactly what we just watched happen in this design challenge.
I am so glad you brought this up, because I came to watch you play on Tuesday, and let me just tell the listeners right now, the outfits, impeccable.
Thank you.
You got custom jerseys. The sweatbands are placed with, like, geometric precision. You look like you were sponsored by Nike. The aesthetic is giving WNBA tunnel walk, but the actual gameplay,
Say it.
it's giving toddler gym class.
Wow.
And you know what? That is exactly the dangerous gap between a grand vision and actual execution that we saw on the runway tonight.
Exactly. The illusion completely shatters the minute I actually have to dribble the ball, much like the illusion shatters the minute some of these queens actually have to thread a bobbin.
Right. Totally.
But here's my debate for the week, because I need you to validate me. Do you think hustle alone should count for points?
No.
Hear me out. If I'm running back and forth, sweating through my setting spray, looking incredibly focused and yelling that I'm open, like, shouldn't that be worth at least a free throw?
Bestie, I literally watched you make one single basket, and you chest bumped your teammate so hard she fell over.
I was hyped.
You celebrate every successful layup like you've just won an Olympic gold medal. I mean, I wonder if the league has a Most Improved Spirit award, because you have the charisma, you have the nerve, but the talent is taking a gap year.
Fake it till you make it, babes. Confidence continues to outrank skill in my life, and I see that exact same spirit in half this cast.
It is inspiring, honestly. But speaking of trying our best and completely failing, we need to talk about that dinner party we went to the other night.
Oh, God.
Because it perfectly mirrors the judging panel this week.
Dinner? The culinary disaster. Please speak your truth on this.
Okay, so the vibes were immaculate. The conversation was flowing, somehow jumping between 10 different topics. But the main dish our friend proudly served us,
It was aggressive.
it was so incredibly salty. And it brings up this eternal friendship dilemma that I need the Snark Squad to weigh in on. When a friend spends hours making something for you and it tastes like the literal Dead Sea, what is the protocol? Do you politely eat it? Do you offer a gentle critique? Do you just say something?
I can tell the listeners exactly what you did, girl, because I was watching you. You smiled this massive, terrified smile that is so robust, and then you covertly drank 4 glasses of tap water while they were in the kitchen.
I had to power through.
You were hydrating like a marathon runner.
I am too polite, and this is my point, right? Are we just too Canadian to ever offer a real complaint? Because I felt like the judges on the runway tonight were doing the exact same thing with some of these garments.
Oh, absolutely.
They were just smiling through the sodium, so to speak. Is honesty always the best policy when someone puts their heart into a creation?
In a friend's dining room, no.
Right.
You swallow that sodium, you compliment the napkin folding, and you order a pizza on the drive home. But on a reality television competition for a cash prize,
Right.
you cannot afford to be polite.
Mm-hmm.
You need Christian Allaire from Vogue to look you in the eye and tell you your hemline is a tragedy.
So true.
But before we get to the runway, I need an intervention on my own domestic tragedy.
Oh boy. Is this about the decorative throw pillows?
I am spiraling into a deep, dark obsession with form over function, which is honestly a major theme of tonight's episode.
It really is.
So at what point does a couch have too many pillows?
Listeners, babes, you have to hear this. I was at their apartment on Tuesday. I am not exaggerating when I say I had to physically excavate my way onto the sofa.
It's cozy.
I removed 12 pillows just to sit down. 12.
They multiply on their own. I buy one textured knit, and suddenly there's a velvet bolster and a lumbar pillow, starting a whole family ecosystem on my sectional.
But why do you keep buying them if you can't even sit on your own furniture? Like, are they functional or just emotional support decor at this point?
Purely emotional support. I look at a beautifully layered couch, and my brain just, releases serotonin. I don't care that it's physically impossible to relax on. The aesthetic is everything.
You're insane.
If I see a mustard velvet circle pillow tomorrow, I am buying it. And that is my truth.
You absolutely will, and I will support you. But you know what? Your obsession with aesthetics completely ruining the structural functionality of your living room is actually the perfect metaphor for Sami Landri's runway look tonight.
Oh, the segue. Seamless. We love a professional.
Exactly. But babes, enough about our basketball careers, salty dinners, and decorative pillow addictions. Let's strut onto the runway where charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent are always in style. Because this recap is going to be messy.
So messy. We have to unpack the aftermath of Untucked first, because the dramatic irony was thicker than a double-stacked lash. We come back into the workroom after Pithy's elimination.
Right.
Makayla Couture is riding the absolute high of her life. She just assassinated a massive threat in the lip sync, and she struts in expecting, a ticker tape parade.
And then the cold, hard reality of the golden beaver twist hits her right in the face.
It was brutal.
Aurora reveals the safety votes, and nobody, literally not a single queen, voted to save Makayla.
Which is fascinating from a psychological standpoint. The golden beaver fundamentally changes the mechanics of standard Drag Race. It's no longer just about impressing the judges, you know? It introduces Survivor-style alliance management. Makayla's playing the standard game, I survived the lip sync, I am fierce, while completely neglecting the jury management aspect.
Exactly. And Jada Shada Hudson is standing right there, visibly hurt. Because in the previous Untucked, Makayla fully yelled at Jada, aggressively blaming her for the choreography falling apart.
Yep.
And this is where the drama peaks, because Nearah Nuff decides to step in as the moral compass of the room.
Which is the most absurd, hypocritical television I have ever witnessed. Nearah Nuff, the patron saint of screaming across the workroom, the queen who actively starts fights for sport, is lecturing Makayla on maturity.
I couldn't believe it.
She literally looks at Makayla and says, "You shot yourself in the foot because you treated your sister poorly." Diva. You did the exact same thing to Makayla in episode 1.
The lack of self-awareness was rich, for sure.
Yeah.
But it was incredibly effective reality TV. It forced Makayla into a corner. And then we have this really emotional moment the next morning.
Oh, here we go.
No, I loved it. Makayla pulls Jada aside and delivers this incredibly vulnerable apology. She admits she was terrified of going home, she felt like she was drowning, and she just projected all of that fuel onto Jada.
I see you getting misty-eyed over this on the couch right now.
Because it shows real emotional intelligence, bestie. It is so hard to look at yourself, realize you lashed out because of your own insecurities, and then publicly take accountability like that.
Okay, fine.
And Jada gracefully accepts it, saying she knew it wasn't the real Makayla. I just love seeing that sisterhood repair itself. It was beautiful.
Sisterhood, please. Let's look at the mechanics of this apology, okay?
You're so cynical.
I'm realistic. Makayla woke up, ran the game theory in her head, and realized, wait, I am alienating the voting bloc. If I am in the bottom again, I am going home.
Oh, come.
It was a highly calculated, strategic PR tour to secure future Golden Beaver votes. It was brilliant, but let's not pretend it was just pure altruism. She is playing the game.
I think two things can be true. She can be strategic and genuinely sorry. But honestly, the heavy emotional vibes are instantly shattered when Jimbo enters the workroom.
In the most cinematic universe crossover event of the year, she is wearing her iconic denim vest confessional look from her original season. The nostalgia factor is off the charts.
She announces the mini challenge, which is a polygraph test. And babes, when the doors opened and the administrator of this lie detector test walked out,
I fell off my chair.
I screamed at my television.
The one, the only, Mother herself. Season 4's meme queen, Melinda Verga.
Wearing a Vivienne Westwood-inspired or as Jimbo shadily corrected uninspired secretary outfit.
Let's talk about the absurdity of this challenge for a second. Polygraph tests on reality TV are an age-old trope, right? They're usually designed to pry out deep, dark secrets from the cast.
Yeah, to cause drama.
But Jimbo's asking them things like, was the moon landing real? Right. And who is the prettiest judge on the panel? The mechanics of this mini-challenge were completely arbitrary. Like, what were they actually being judged on?
They were being judged on nerve. The queens who hesitated or tried to formulate a safe answer failed. Tiffany Ann Co. ends up winning the $2,500 because she understood the assignment.
Which was?
Don't stutter, commit to the bit, and yell your truth, even if it makes absolutely zero sense.
Which is a life lesson, honestly. If you say something loudly and confidently enough, people will hand you a novelty check.
Right.
I mean, Snark Squad, what would you admit to for $2.5 grand?
Yeah.
Because I would have confessed to kidnapping the Lindbergh baby for that much money.
Same. I would admit to literally anything. But this perfectly transitions us into the absolute meat of the episode, the design auction.
Yes.
So Jimbo announces the runway category is looking good, feeling gorgeous. But instead of a standard fabric wall bloodbath where they all just fight over the same piece of velvet, the queens are given 100 beaver bucks to bid on materials, advantages, and mystery boxes.
This is a brilliant structural twist. We always talk about how Drag Race needs to innovate its format. And introducing a resource management mechanic into a design challenge is genius. It tests their ability to conceptualize under financial duress.
Well, let's break down the bidding war, because some of the tactical decisions here were baffling. Let's start with our polished frontrunner, Aurora Matrix.
The most tragic financial investment in the history of television. Aurora has 100 beaver bucks. She spends 40 of them, which is almost half her net worth, on an iced coffee.
She genuinely believed there was a twist. She thought she was buying, like, a hidden immunity idol.
She was slurping it like she was on Survivor, inspecting the bottom of the plastic cup for a secret scroll. And it was literally just bean water.
The camera zoomed in on her face when she realized she spent $40 on cold brew, and it was pure cinematic comedy. I was pointing at my screen laughing.
It just proves that overthinking the production mechanics can totally sabotage you.
But then we contrast that with Nearah Nuff, who takes a massive gamble. She spends 60 beaver bucks on a mystery box. And the payoff?
Incredible.
30 minutes of exclusive one-on-one design help from Suki Doll.
Let's provide some context for the listeners who might not understand the magnitude of this. Suki Doll is not just a drag queen. She is a master seamstress, a pattern maker, and a structural genius from season 2.
Literally a pro.
Having Suki Doll in a design challenge is like having Gordon Ramsay pop in to help you make an omelet. It is a game-breaking advantage.
Absolutely. And then there were other notable purchases. Juice spends $50 on red sequins. Makayla spends $60 on purple tulle and then drops her remaining $40 on a 10-minute time freeze button.
Oh.
And then we have Sami Landri.
Oh, Sami, bless her heart.
Sami spends her entire 100 beaver bucks on metals. Literal hardware. Nuts, bolts, and metallic sheeting. No fabric whatsoever.
She bought an aesthetic concept without thinking about the physical reality of the human body. From an engineering standpoint, you cannot drape sheet metal.
You really can't.
You cannot easily dart it. She effectively paid her entire budget to make the challenge infinitely harder for herself. Which leads us directly into the workroom spirals, because a design challenge is essentially a pressure cooker for mental breakdowns.
And Nearah Nuff is the first one to crack. She is staring at her materials, and she just starts weeping. She is deeply triggered by the trauma of her season 4 design challenge, where she wore that highly criticized disastrous garment.
And this is where the psychology of the competitor comes in, right? She's letting past failure paralyze her present opportunity. But girl, you have the golden ticket. You have Suki Doll waiting in the wings. Pull it together.
Which is exactly what happens, and it was so beautiful to watch. When Suki walks into that workroom, she immediately assesses the emotional state of the room. She didn't just walk in as a designer, she walked in as a therapist.
Sure.
She calms Nearah down, gets her focused, and then we get to watch Suki's technical mastery.
It was mesmerizing. Suki didn't just cut fabric, she established the entire foundational structure of the garment. She draped it on the bias, she pinned the silhouette to Nearah's exact proportions, and she created a blueprint that essentially made the dress foolproof.
It was a masterclass. Honestly, it made me choke up a bit seeing them work together. But while Suki is performing miracles in one corner, we have a literal comedy routine happening in the center of the room with Makayla and her 10-minute time freeze button.
Okay, let's analyze the mechanics of this advantage. The time freeze means you press a button, sirens go off, and every other queen has to drop their scissors and stop working for 10 minutes while you continue to sew.
Right.
It is a sabotage weapon. It is designed to ruin other people's momentum.
And how does Makayla wield this weapon? She politely walks around the room, asking for consent. She's like, hey guys, are you at a good stopping point? Would it be super inconvenient if I froze time right now?
It defeats the entire purpose. You don't ask for permission to sabotage your competitors. But eventually she hits the button. The room freezes. And Makayla realizes she now has an audience of stationary queens watching her every move.
She feels the pressure to perform.
She starts sewing furiously, running the fabric through the machine at max speed to prove a point.
And what happens when you panic sew non-stretch fabric, bestie?
Total mechanical failure. When you sew that fast under pressure, you aren't leaving a proper seam allowance, and you're pulling the fabric taut, which ruins the thread tension. So she finishes the bodice, she probably shimmies into it to show off to the frozen room, and she exhales.
And the seam absolutely explodes.
It popped louder than a gunshot. She froze time just to humiliate herself faster. It was high camp. You literally cannot write comedy this good.
She ripped her dress completely open. But to her credit, she laughed it off, pivoted her entire design strategy, and just kept going.
She did.
Meanwhile, underneath all this sewing chaos, the real game is being played. The Kitty Cats Alliance, which is Aurora, Juice, and Tiffany, are whispering in the corner doing the math on the Golden Beaver.
Let's look at this chess move. The Kitty Cats realize they have a voting block of 3. But instead of targeting the weakest sewers in the room, Aurora explicitly states they need to target Jada and Sami.
Right, which surprised me.
Why? Because Jada and Sami are the wild cards. Aurora isn't targeting pawns, she is targeting the unpredictable variables. She knows that in a Survivor-style voting system, wild cards are the most dangerous players because you can't control their math.
It's incredibly calculating. Aurora is playing the overarching season, not just the weekly challenge.
But as we know, alliance math only works if you actually stay out of the bottom 3. Which brings us to the main stage.
The runway. The category is looking good, feeling gorgeous. And babes, before we even talk about the queens, we have to talk about this judging panel.
Oh, they looked incredible.
Brooklyn Heights looked like a draped Grecian goddess descended from Mount Olympus. Priyanka was giving absolute superstar energy. And the guest judge was Christian Allaire from Vogue.
Which is the ultimate psychological warfare.
Why?
Because Christian Allaire was the exact same guest judge from Nearah's disastrous Season 4 design challenge. No wonder she was crying in the workroom. She had to face her fashion sleep paralysis demon.
Oh my God, you're right. I didn't even put that together. Okay, let's break down these looks. First, down the runway, our iced coffee enthusiast, Aurora Matrix.
Perfection. Absolute, unadulterated editorial perfection.
Yeah.
Brooke Lynn called it the lesbian love child of Miranda Priestley and Cruella de Vil, and she hit the nail on the head.
It was so good.
Aurora took black leather, silver hardware, and that single black feather shoulder piece she bought at auction, and she constructed a masterpiece.
The construction is what blew me away. Leather is notoriously unforgiving. If you make a mistake with a needle in leather, the hole is permanent.
Exactly.
The tailoring on this jacket looked like it took a week in a Milan atelier, not a few hours in a chaotic workroom.
She understands her own proportions flawlessly. She's eating this competition alive.
Next up, Jada Shada Hudson. She took animal print and denim and gave us this wealthy Nigerian queen at a gala fantasy.
Here's where you and I are going to debate, because I am going to be the harsh Canadian you refuse to be.
Oh boy. Here we go.
Was the look cohesive? Yes. Did she construct a massive matching hat and a structured purse out of scratch? Yes, and I respect the accessorizing.
It was amazing.
But let's look at the actual garment. With a corset and a skirt, that is the exact same silhouette Jada made in her Season 3 design challenge. It is a crutch. The rigid denim clashing with the flimsy animal print created a textural nightmare.
I completely disagree.
The judges smiled to the sodium, but I am telling you, it was structurally lazy.
I vehemently disagree with you. The accessories elevated it from a basic corset to a full character. She built a narrative. The hat was architectural.
And that was hiding the fact that the dress was basic.
Next, let's talk about Sami Landri and her $100 medal disaster.
My decorative throw pillow analogy come to life, babes. All aesthetic, zero structural integrity.
She gave us a futuristic, Lady Gaga-esque metal warrior. She had these huge metallic shoulder pieces, a spiky bra. I actually commend her ambition. She only had hardware to work with, and she really tried to force those rigid materials onto the organic shape of a human body.
And that is exactly why it failed. You just said it. Rigid materials on an organic shape. Unless you know how to properly dart and mold metal, it's gonna buckle.
It did buckle a little.
A little. The entire midsection was literally silver duct tape wrapped around her waist to look like a metallic corset. It was giving Tin Man goes to a rave but runs out of budget. It was ambitious, sure, but it was not fashion.
Use camp.
It was a hazard. Speaking of hazards, Makayla Couture in her purple tulle.
She survived the ripped dress, she pivoted to draping, and she came out looking incredibly cute. The purple looked stunning against her skin.
Let's analyze the technique of draping tulle. When a drag queen runs out of time or rips a seam, tulle is the ultimate emergency parachute because you can just wrap it around a corset, cinch it with a belt, and call it volume.
It worked, though?
Makayla sold it with her face in her walk, but if you paused the TV and looked at the garment, it was a purple bathroom loofah.
But she sold the illusion. That is a huge part of drag, Dusty.
True. Illusion is everything. Which brings us to Nearah Nuff, who completely shattered her own illusion.
Oh, Nearah. Suki Doll gave her the blueprint for a gorgeous country club chic dress. And what did Nearah do?
She committed a crime against proportions. She took the scissors and chopped the skirt entirely too short.
She came down the runway in what she called Sexy Easter Sunday, and she flashed a fully visible nude diaper panty to an editor from Vogue. I wanted to jump through my television screen and pull her skirt down just 1 inch.
Let's talk about the mechanics of a hemline. A micro mini skirt works if it is tailored to the exact curve of the hip. Nearah cut it on a straight line, meaning the minute she took a stride, the fabric rode up, exposing the structural undergarment.
It was so bad.
In fashion, the visible panty line is the ultimate death knell. The top half was giving wealthy socialite, the bottom half was giving changing room malfunction.
It broke my heart because the fabric Suki helped her drape was so pretty. But it wasn't as heartbreaking as Juice Boxx.
Tragic. Just tragic.
Juice came out in this red sequin potato sack wearing a headscarf with literal tear streaks painted on her face. She looked like a weeping widow.
She looked like a peasant from an off-Broadway community theater production of Fiddler on the Roof. Let's analyze the psychological collapse here.
Gorgeous.
The prompt was, looking good, feeling gorgeous. Juice got so overwhelmed by the fabric, so panicked by the sewing machine, that her brain fundamentally rejected the prompt. She leaned into the tragedy of her own failure and made an intentionally depressed garment.
I felt so much empathy for her. When you are spiraling in that workroom, sometimes you just surrender to it. It was formless, it wasn't flattering, but it was deeply relatable.
Relatable doesn't win a crown, bestie, and neither does gluing rhinestones to pantyhose, which brings us to Tiffany Ann Co.
Our fashion school graduate, she came out in a rhinestone corset bodysuit and stone tights.
This is a classic drag race paradox. Often queens who actually went to fashion school struggle the most in these challenges.
Why do you think that is?
Because they overthink the intricate patterning, they run out of time, and then they have to default to basic drag proportions. Tiffany knows how to drape a gown, but under the ticking clock, she panicked and just hot-glued rhinestones to a pre-existing corset. It was clunky, the fit was weird, and she knew it.
It definitely wasn't her best showing. And the judges knew it too, which leads us to Untucked and the Golden Beaver vote. The judges deliberate, and the bottom 3 are revealed. And babes, the poetic justice of this outcome is staggering.
The Kitty Cats Alliance. Aurora is safe and wins the challenge, but Juice, Nearah, and Tiffany are the bottom 3.
The 3 girls who spent the entire episode calculating how to vote out the wild cards are all up for elimination.
It proves my earlier point right. Alliance math is completely useless if you can't thread a needle, so they go back to Untucked, and they have to plead their cases to the safe queens for the Golden Beaver save. And Nearah Nuff delivers a masterclass in psychological manipulation.
It was chilling. Nearah looks around the room, and instead of begging for her life, she goes on the offensive. She argues that she shouldn't have to lip sync because everyone knows she is a fierce dancer.
Yeah.
She points out the empirical data, like Juice and Tiffany have both already been saved by the Golden Beaver in previous episodes.
And then she drops the tactical nuke. She says, I want them to have a fair fight.
I gasped!
She basically looked at the safe queens and said, if you put me in the bottom against one of them, I will slaughter them on that stage and it will be a bloodbath. Save me as an act of mercy to them.
So wild.
It was the most arrogant, calculated, brilliant argument I have ever heard. She didn't appeal to their empathy, she appealed to their fear.
And it forces the safe queens into a corner, so it comes time for the vote. Aurora votes to save Juice, honoring her alliance. Makayla votes for Tiffany, sticking by her Season 5 sister. Jada votes for Nearah, returning the favor from episode 1.
Look at the game theory. Every single vote so far is based on past relationships, not present runway critiques.
Exactly, which means the entire fate of the week comes down to Sami Landri, the wild card. The exact queen the Kitty Cats Alliance wanted to eliminate earlier in the day.
Aurora was right to fear the wild card. Sami holds all the power. She evaluates the pleas, breaks the tie, and saves Nearah.
The ultimate blindside revenge, and Sami didn't even know she was getting revenge on the alliance that plotted against her. So Nearah is safe, and Juice and Tiffany have to lip sync for their lives.
Let's talk about this lip sync. The song is Conga by Gloria Estefan and the Miami Sound Machine. This is a foundational text of queer dance culture. It is all percussion, horns, and rhythm.
It is a high-energy classic.
And what did Juice and Tiffany give us? Arm flailing,
Yeah.
hair whipping, walking heavily on the beat. Babes, for a song called Conga, there was absolutely zero footwork.
Oh, none.
Neither of them captured the fiery, syncopated rhythm of that track.
It was a little disjointed. I think the heavy, restrictive garments they were wearing really hindered their movement. But honestly, the actual lip-sync performance didn't even matter because the true winner of this segment was happening in the background.
Jimbo's breastplate.
Yes. Did you notice what was happening? Every single time the camera cut to Jimbo behind the judges' table, her giant signature silicone breastplate was progressively inflating.
I thought I was having a stroke. I literally rubbed my eyes. It was a brilliant, subtle visual gag.
It got so big.
By the final crescendo of the song, her chest was so massive that she physically could not clap her hands together. She was just weakly slapping the sides of the silicone. It was peak physical comedy. Jimbo stole the entire spotlight without even standing up.
It was the best detail of the season. But back to the reality of the competition. Brooklyn makes the call. Tiffany stays. And our beloved Juice Boxx goes home. Again, on a design challenge.
We need to define this for the listeners. This is the Pork Chop Curse, named after Victoria Porkchop Parker from Season 1 of the U.S. franchise. It is the inescapable destiny of certain queens to completely short-circuit whenever a sewing machine is plugged in.
It really is.
Juice is a phenomenal drag queen, but the mechanics of garment construction are her kryptonite.
I was genuinely crying. Juice was so vulnerable, so relatable, and she brought such a lovable energy to the workroom. I am going to miss her confessional commentary so much.
She gave us excellent reality television, but she gave us a tragic red sequin sack. That is the game.
All right, babes, let's pivot to our absolute favorite part of the recap. Segment 1, Crown Jewel of the Week. We have to definitively pick our standouts. Who gets best runway for you?
Best runway goes to Aurora Matrix, hands down. We talked about the construction of the leather, but let's talk about the styling. The slicked back hair, the severe makeup. She didn't just wear the outfit, she presented a fully realized editorial character.
I completely agree. It was flawless. For best challenge performance, I am actually giving this to Tiffany Ann Co. for utterly destroying that polygraph mini challenge.
Oh, true.
She understood the assignment of reality TV, she commanded the room, and she secured the bag.
Valid. Biggest surprise for me goes to Makayla. The fact that she can rip a seam wide open, cause a 10-minute workroom traffic jam, pivot to a tulle loofah, and somehow escape the bottom 3 is a testament to her sheer willpower and plot armor. She is failing upwards, and I respect the hustle.
She is blessed by the drag gods. And finally, the episode stealer. I think we have a unanimous agreement on this.
Jimbo's inflating chest piece, period. Put it in the Smithsonian.
Just protect Jimbo at all costs. Okay, moving into segment 2, Runway Hot or Not. We are going to discuss the top 3 looks that broke the internet tonight. Aurora, Jada, and Nearah.
Okay, let's do it.
For each look, we have to debate, would you actually wear it? Was it fashion or camp? And what tiny detail made it unforgettable? Let's start with Aurora.
Would I wear it? Yes, but only if I was attending the reading of a will for a wealthy husband whose signature I just forged.
Oh my God.
Was it fashion or camp? It was pure high-end fashion. The tiny detail that made it unforgettable was that aggressive, singular feathered shoulder. It created this villainous asymmetry that drew the eye perfectly.
I would wear it to a fashion week after party in a heartbeat. Next up, Jada Shada Hudson.
Would I wear it? Absolutely not.
I
do not do rigid denim corsets, and cheetah print is a bridge too far for my personal aesthetic.
Boring.
Was it fashion or camp? It was unadulterated camp. The tiny detail. I will admit, the matching oversized bag was a great prop that gave her something to interact with on a runway.
I would wear that massive hat to brunch tomorrow. It was architectural. And finally, Nearah Nuff's sexy Easter Sunday.
Would I wear it? Not unless my ultimate goal was to be cited for public indecency at a country club bake sale.
Stop.
Was it fashion or camp? It was structural tragedy. And the tiny detail that made it unforgettable, the completely visible nude panty line. It is burned into my corneas forever.
I just know Suki Doll was weeping on her couch at home, watching Nearah hack away at that beautiful hemline. Okay, on to segment 3, Snatch the Crown. We are ranking the remaining top queens, Aurora, Makayla, Sami, Jada, Tiffany, Nearah, based on charisma, uniqueness, nerve, talent, and momentum heading into next week.
Let me set the record straight right now. Aurora Matrix is the untouchable frontrunner. She has 2 wins in a row. She has the polish, she understands the game theory of the alliances, and she executes at a professional level. Everyone else is currently fighting for the runner-up spot.
I hear your logic, but do not count out the emotional momentum of an underdog edit. I am ranking Jada and Sami right behind Aurora.
Why?
They are the wild cards, they are voting independently, they have incredible heart, and they are surviving the gauntlet. Charisma and relatability go a long way with the audience.
Heart doesn't sew a hemline or memorize Snatch Game characters, bestie.
Yeah.
My ranking is Aurora at the apex. Then Makayla, because she has undeniable star power. Then Nearah, because her nerve is sociopathic in the best way possible for TV. Jada and Sami are tied in the middle because their track records are inconsistent. And Tiffany is at the absolute bottom. She barely survived a lip sync, and her confidence is shaken.
I think Sami is going to surge. Which brings us perfectly to segment 4, Lip Sync Prophecies. Let's look into our crystal balls. Who is about to break out next week?
Go ahead.
I am officially predicting that Sami Landri will get her breakout win. She survived the metal disaster, she is hungry for redemption, and if next week is an acting or comedy challenge, her natural charisma is going to carry her to the top.
And I predict Tiffany is in extreme danger. She can no longer hide behind glued rhinestones and basic silhouettes. The judges have clocked her reliance on bodysuits. If she doesn't present a completely new proportion or dominate a comedy challenge, she is the next target for the voting block.
Ooh, harsh but accurate. For next week's runway standout, I am predicting Makayla. She knows she slipped by with that purple tulle, and she is too proud to look messy twice. She is going to come out looking flawless to redeem her runway reputation.
And my one completely chaotic prediction that somehow feels structurally possible on this franchise.
Let's hear it.
Someone is going to win an advantage in a future mini challenge, maybe the ability to assign roles in an acting challenge, and it is going to actively cause their own elimination because they will miscalculate the game theory. Oh, or Jimbo's breastplate will finally pop from the air pressure and take out a camera operator. Honestly, it's a toss-up.
Both are highly plausible. What an absolute roller coaster of an episode.
So good.
So, Snark Squad, you have been sitting on the couch with us this whole time, and we need your hot takes.
Get in the comments, get in our DMs. We need to know who truly dominated the runway tonight. Was Aurora the undisputed winner, or am I being too harsh on Jada's construction?
Which look would you actually have the nerve to wear to the grocery store? Are you brave enough for Sami's metal diaper? And most importantly, please settle this domestic dispute. How many throw pillows are definitively too many?
If you say more than 3, you are enabling my sickness, but I welcome your support.
Thank you all so much for listening and surviving the chaos with us tonight. You are the absolute best besties a host could ask for.
Remind them of the homework, Diva.
Yes. Remind to subscribe wherever you listen to this, Kiki. Leave us a 5-star review. And only 5 stars, babes. We don't do constructive criticism here. We only do delusion. And share this pod with another drag race-loving babe in your life.
Unless they politely eat salty dinners without complaining, then cut them loose.
Before we sign off, I want you to think about this. We just watched an entire room of queens base their golden beaver votes on past relationships rather than present one-way threats. As we move into the middle of the season, ask yourself, are these queens actually playing to win the crown? Or are they just playing to avoid being the villain of Untucked?
Ooh, the game within the game.
Exactly. Stay fabulous, stay fierce, and we'll see you on the snark side.